And I'm eating it all up, Poggy.
It's just spoon feeding them.
All right, this one might be a little bit of a long conversation. We'll try to keep this relatively short, just because we know the conversation of around this player and the contract that's coming his way. We're jumping to the players. Number one thing, Brock Purdy. We're going to talk about Brock Purdy, and we're going to give him a grade on the season. Again, based on what he was dealing with, based on the scheme that we just talked about. Kyle Shanahan wasn't very good. We said that already. And the defense not being very good as well, right? And the offensive line being atrocious. No CMC, using a rookie wide receiver and Ricky Pearsall, who didn't start until the 7th week. A holdout Ayuk, a washed Debo, and Jacob Cowing and Chris Connolly.
I love that. A washed Debo. I love how you throw that in.
Because he is. He was bad, dude. He was terrible, all right?
So bad. Just keep on going.
So going over to Brock Purdy, what I have the stats here, and I guess
I got a stat. I'm good.
I
got everything. I got everything.
All right, so go ahead and defend Brock Purdy and your grade.
Defend him
for Brock Purdy.
Well, I give him a solid B for this season. I think, I can't give him an A based off the team as a whole. It wasn't a great season for us. I think a B is a pretty good grade. Just what he had to work with. Working with a lot of rookies for majority of the season, a terrible Ayuk, not in shape at all. That contract holdout really was a negative impact on him
mentally,
not for his pockets, of course, but yeah, like you said, mentally and physically.
You went out and bought 3 cars or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, stupid. I mean, this is why I hate these holdouts for these players. It really is a bad look, and like I said, I wish we got rid of him. Anyways, moving forward. I mean, he's completed 66% of his passes, still threw for 38, 64. Rating of a 96. I would have liked to see less interceptions, but I think it was more of him trying to force the ball, trying to make big plays happen for us, because he was about it between him and Kittle. That was about our offense, and in the beginning, Mason. So I think that was about our offense there for the 49ers. There wasn't much. And Jawan Jennings. I really love Jennings. I'd rather keep him over Ayuk. But yeah, I mean, I give him a solid B. I think Purdy's definitely a franchise quarterback. I put him in the top. What would you say
some of his mistakes were that made that grade come down? Because obviously you're mentioning things that outside his control, which gives him a little bit of a boost. So what is the?
I think I'd say his some of those interceptions are definitely on him. There was, we were texting back and forth, and I expressed to you that interception was definitely on him. Like in the Detroit game, that second interception, 100% on him. Oh no, I'm sorry, that first interception was not the second. I'm thinking back. First interception was definitely on him. I mean, you can go back. I think there was the Rams game where he threw an interception. I'm like, why did he make that throw into triple coverage? Like, there's times where he was trying to make too much happen when he really did not need to, and there was no pressure there. So it was like, I can understand somewhat of why you're trying to do that, but you need to relax a little bit. Like you're really trying too hard when you don't need to.
Yeah.
Like he had time, the pocket wasn't collapsing, but he would just make a stupid read and a stupid throw, and you're going, what's going through his mind there?
That Rams
game. What was going through your mind there? You threw it right into that stupid coverage. Why? Like, he just had some moments where you're like, did his brain just shut off? It's like, did his brain shut
your ass
off? Yeah, it's like, I have a hard time defending that throw right there. You just made me look like an idiot because you made that the dumbest throw I think I've seen you make. So, yeah, I think it's those head scratching interceptions he throws that you're like, that's 100% your fault. I'd say, a good probably 70 to 75% of those interceptions are his fault this season because he's trying.
He's thrown 12.
Yeah, he's thrown 12, but a lot of times those interceptions are on quarterbacks. They'll make those stupid throws, and every once in a while you have one that gets tipped or something like that. That's just not their fault.
One where it went through Debo's hands.
Yeah,
Was
I
they got
mean,
picked off.
but I mean, you can name a handful of them that probably weren't his fault, but I mean, a majority of them are going to be his fault because he's just trying some stupid. He's like, I can make
Trying to
that
play hero
throw.
ball,
Yeah,
trying
he's
to
like,
get
I
his
can make
quarterback
that
farther.
throw. I believe in my arm strength. I can throw it between those three defenders right into that receiver, that 2-inch hole. It's like, come on,
Love the
dude.
confidence, but
Yeah, you need to simmer down. But
well, just like you give him credit for those crazy back foot elite dot of a passes. You're like, whoa, dude, I can't believe he made that under pressure.
Yeah.
You also got to give him shit for throwing the ball under pressure.
You're
and
like,
it being a pick as
why'd
well.
you do that? You're
You
like,
got to have, yeah. And that's what makes you a great quarterback, how you deal with that pressure. Like, do you make great plays under pressure just as much as, like, do you make bad plays under pressure? So I know what you're saying. Like, there was plays where he was under pressure, he made a mistake. But there's plays where he was under pressure and he shouldn't have thrown it, and you should get knocked for that because that's the difference between a good quarterback. Like, look at Sam Darnold. He couldn't handle the pressure of,
he was
I need to
terrible
win
under
this
the
game
pressure yesterday.
because
Yeah.
he's the number one seed. And that was the only pressure because the offensive line was doing a great job.
Mhm.
Like, the pressure was the game. So for him, for Brock Purdy, yeah, he made mistakes under pressure, which you do need to give him a knock for as well.
But these games were on the line. It wasn't like the game was on the line and he needed to make these throws. It was like he just believed in his arm strength a little too much, or he thought he could just finesse that ball in that spot too much, and it's like, no, you got to simmer down a little bit there. But it's like it's kind of like the sophomore little sophomore slump you could feel was going on. Like, okay, he needs to come back down to earth a little bit, maybe, and just kind of bring it back in. I think he's still it. He's definitely still it. He showed that he's still a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He got an honorable mention, even though we had a shit season. He had 20 different wide receivers, and he was working with rookies all season. So he didn't. His solid number one was George Kittle, which I don't think had enough credit really this season. Which I think he could have thrown to him 150 times this season, honestly. So,
Sport machine in the house.
It's not a sport machine.
49ers might need a new QB. Nah, dude.
No.
Nope. Brock Purdy's the man. He's a top 10 quarterback. He even played like it in my eyes, even with everything that happened. All right, so you gave him a B for his play. I'm going to give him a little bit downgrade, a little bit more. I'm going to say B minus. He didn't play the worst. I still think he played a little bit above average, played really well. Like you said, it was just what really brings it down is that he plays really good from first, second quarter to third quarter. But it seems like the scrambling was a little bit lost this season compared to last season. And then just the interceptions that were costly, like the value of those interceptions were bad. Like it's not like it was first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. It was like fourth quarter. We need this drive. We need this play. And he did have some good ones, but like against the Rams game, I understand that your players are dropping balls left and right. I understand that your wide receivers are last in separation. I understand that you have some of the slowest weapons out there. All right. I get that. And so you have to rely on those players to get the 50-50 ball and stuff. But when the ball leaves your hand, all right, when that ball leaves your hand, you're responsible in that belief. It falls on you because you were saying, I threw an accurate ball, give them a chance, and they picked it off, and it was a great catch. Like the one against the Lions where it sailed so far over Ricky Pearsall. That dude Alvin Johnson, it wouldn't have mattered. Mm-hmm. It was going to get picked. That was one of the worst interceptions. He had moments like that. And then the Rams game, I agree that like you felt like the defense was going to get a stop, right? You felt like the defense was doing good, but you needed that drive there. You had two players for a check down. You caved into the pressure there because you didn't believe in your weapons. You didn't believe that your weapons were going to – so you felt like you had to put everything on your shoulders, that you had to make an incredible play. And that's like the one aspect that's good about Brock, and that's also bad about Brock. He's very confident, but like once he lost his faith in Debo, because once Debo dropped that ball against the Rams, he felt like he had to do it himself. You could tell. You could tell he was like, okay, I have to make a miracle play after miracle play after miracle play because we're not winning this based on other players helping me out. Like they're like just basic ass catches. They were dropping balls left and fucking right in that game. It was insane.
Yeah.
So Brock Purdy, I'm going to give him a B minus just because some of the games where you needed that game-winning drive, it wasn't there. When you needed that clutch play, it wasn't there. But again, what he was, like you said before, what he was dealing with, a holdout, half the season Brandon Ayuk, a washed Debo, Ricky Pearsall, who didn't come back until week 7, and that was literally when he started practicing. He didn't practice in training camp, didn't practice in preseason, and had no starts in the season. That's literally when he started. So you knew that connection was going to be off. It was going to take a while. And obviously, they figured it out towards the end of the season. Pearsall's going off, dude. He looks amazing right now. We'll get to that soon. Cowing is nowhere to be found. And so with that being said, like as a quarterback, when you don't have someone to throw the ball to, Debo, even if Debo was his guy still, he's a jet sweep screen guy, not a wide receiver. So you can't rely on him as a quarterback throwing the ball. Ayuk was not the same, had an insane amount of drops. I think I checked 47 targets, 25 catches. Dude was atrocious. Okay. With that being said, you now have your best option being Juwan Jennings. Yeah, great 50-50 guy, but he can't really get that separation for a long period of time. Okay. Last in separation. Brock Purdy was dealing with last in separation wide receivers. That means in the NFL, he had to deal with the smallest targets. He had to deal with the smallest fucking frame of catch radius. That's what he had to deal with throughout the entire year. And you would think that he would have the worst stats with that. You think that even the greatest quarterbacks, when you have the shittiest offensive line known to man, okay? Trent Williams was washed for the half the season, and then he was out for the rest of the season. Then you have Banks, who Strawberry said was complete ass. Brendel, fall on his ass. I cannot tell you how many times Brendel fell on his ass. Purdy, yeah, rookie, outstanding. But again, rookie, he's going to make mistakes. He made mistakes in a very costly game where he had 3 straight penalties on one drive. It was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Pivots, absolute garbo trash. So when you have trash offensive linemen, your quarterback's constantly on pressure. I gave Purdy shit already for the pressure throws. I understand that. But a quarterback should not be dealing with pressure all the time where he needs to be scrambling to the left, scrambling to the right on a constant basis. You knew that when Brock Purdy dropped back, you thought to yourself, okay, there's no way in hell he's going to have time to throw. It's not going to be clean pocket. I constantly thought about, I'm looking for the player that's going to break through and just crush Purdy. Because Purdy got his ass beat all season.
31 sacks.
31 sacks. He got his ass beat. And that's not because he didn't – and it would have been worse if he was Kirk Cousins, if he was a statue, if he didn't have that scrambling ability, it would have been significantly worse. Seriously. And let's go this is Brock Purdy's stats. He is thirds in yards per attempt, despite all that shit. 8.81 yards. He was 8th in air yards per attempt, not counting Yak. That he was still top 10 quarterback there. Yeah, his passer rating was 13th with 96.7. That is better than Jalen Hurts' whole entire career. And that was when he had Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, elite offensive line, a great running back, or at least always a top 10 running back there, and Dallas Goedert. And he has a better passer rating this year compared to Jalen Hurts' whole career. First down percentage for Brock Purdy, 5th. Brock Purdy's first down percentage, he was 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Despite all that. 20-plus passes, 5th. 40-yard passes, he was 5th. The dude was playing phenomenal. And, yeah, you want to say, his comp percentage was bad. It was 65.9%. That is 17th. That's not very good. Again, players dropping balls contribute to your completion percentage. Last in separation for your receivers contribute to poor completion percentage. Your slow-ass receivers contribute to poor completion percentage because your window is significantly smaller, dude. Okay. What was it? I got another one here. Yeah, he has 20-plus touchdowns. That was 15th in the league, which makes him mid right there. He has 3,864 yards. That makes him 10th. Keep in mind, he didn't play in 2 games. If you took the average of Brock Purdy's games of 252 yards, I believe it was, and you add it to the 17 games, he has 4,379 yards, which would put him 4th in yards. 4th in yards. So despite all that bullshit, despite Kyle, like we talked about, Kyle's lack of poor scheme, okay? Because that matters for a quarterback. When you got a poor scheme, it affects the quarterback in his play. When you got injuries left and right and pass catchers that can't get any separation, your window is smaller, it's going to affect your play. You got washed-ass players out there. You got a terrible offensive line, and you got a defense you cannot really believe in, this guy played fucking phenomenal. A B minus, I feel like, is a little bit harsh after everything I said. But again,
You're not
it's
selling your
what
B
you
minus.
do with that pressure moment that brings you back. So to say that Brock Purdy was bad this year, despite everything we just gave shit Kyle Shanahan for, we just gave the offensive line, wide receivers, running back issues, injuries, holdouts, rest. This dude played phenomenal. And like we said, it is a team sport. It's a team sport. You win games. Winning games is not a quarterback stat.
I would like to see, Shanahan lift that whole quarterbacks not calling audibles.
I said that Eagles have right now an elite running back because they do. Saquon
Barkley.
And I said before that, I said he had a top 10 running back, which was Swift. And he was.
Yeah.
So to say that Jalen Hurts didn't have all these weapons and yet he does not even beat Brock Purdy in these things is fucking wild. When right now Brock Purdy is dealing with significantly less than most players, most teams in the league right now. So he literally has top 5 stats, top 7, top 8, top 10 stats. Mm-hmm. It's insane. And like Strawberry said, with those yards, if you took his average, you had it, that beats his yards from last year, where last year he was a fucking MVP candidate.
Yep.
Brock Purdy's the man, okay? And to blame everything on Brock Purdy and then blame everything on Kyle and then blame everything on offensive line and that's not how that works. It's called, you got to look at the facts and be like, okay, which player is standing out amongst the rest? Brock Purdy can only do so much with his players. Brock Purdy factually played like a top 10 quarterback, despite all of it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with Strawberry on that. Strawberry's coming. I agree with him on that.
To be for real, you could put most running backs behind that line. Eagles would top 10. Agreed.